Guys, coming to you, talk to you about some Marvel versus DC. Trying to get my camera straight. It is not working out for me. There we go. That looks good. Let's see if that holds for a while. All right. So it's been a pretty crazy week, guys. Sorry about the camera adjusting. Boom. Okay. The camera adjusting. Boom. Okay. I hope y'all been doing well. It's been a long week, so I figured I'd do a quick live video and talk about some comic books that have been going on. And I'm just gonna tell you, Marvel has been kicking it up this week. It has been amazing. So pretty cool stuff there. So I got a few books here that I just recently read, so I'm a little bit behind on a lot of reading comic books. Just been a crazy week. So some of the ones that we've got the Terrifics Annual, and then we've got Spider-Gwen #1. Got Damage #10 with the tinfoil cover. Got Marvel 2-in-1, Mr. Terrific and the Thing, and then Wolverine, The Return of Wolverine #2. So yeah, it's kind of a Marvel DC toss-up this week. I might go ahead, and I have waited for a while, but I didn't want to tip the scales against DC, but I might just talk about this one at the end. Heroes in Crisis. So, yeah, so this one's coming. Just hang on. I don't want to tip the scale, so I'm not going to include that one. But boy howdy, Marvel has had some great issues the last couple weeks. And, yeah, I mean, it's surprising me. I'm slowly gaining trust for Marvel again. Slowly gaining trust for them. And it's hard because they've kind of broken my heart over the last couple years. Just they haven't really put anything out that I'm interested in at all. Like they'll put a couple issues out. Like I read Cable a couple years ago. That was really good, and then they canceled that. They put out Iron Fist. And that was really good, but I ran out of money, so I had to stop buying that. What else was I reading? Started with Champions. Welcome. Started with Champions when it came out, but I had to drop it. And so I was just saying that Marvel's disappointed me in the last couple of years with some of their comic books. I've read a few of the issues, but man, DC has been killing it for a long time now. 2 years, pretty much the entire time I've been collecting comics, DC has been on top, and Marvel's coming back. Coming back a little bit. So I didn't, obviously there's a lot of Marvel comics that I'm not reading. Hey, welcome. Obviously Marvel Comics has been, there's a lot of comics that I just don't read from them, just because it's not, some of their comics just aren't the best, but there's some comics that I'm really enjoying from them. And so, in case you're just joining in now, I've got several books I'm going to review about Marvel and DC from the last couple weeks, because I'm super behind on everything, and figured I'd just do them all at once. So, should be fun. Hopefully my phone will survive long enough. I might have to plug it in, so 400 comics. That is a lot of comics. I've actually got a lot now, too. I've been slowly building it over the last couple years, and I've got, how many? Let's say, sorry, I'm counting. I'm looking at my boxes. I've got eight boxes now. That's pretty sweet. They're not all full, but actually there's 2 that I'm trying to get rid of. But so I'll end up with just 6 boxes. So that's a lot of comic books. It is, but it is nothing compared to Lewis. Man, If you saw Lewis's closet of boxes, it would bring me to shame. Yeah, he's been collecting for a long time, but yeah, which is kind of I think why he's um, compared to our mortal realm. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. I'm not on another plane, but I do love comic books. I do enjoy them, and I mean so. Before we start, if you haven't seen my other video about the comic book giveaway, go check that out. It's titled Comic Book Giveaway Live or something like that. So we're giving away a comic book because we want to share with you guys. And the comic book is one of the new Teen Titans, which is dear to our hearts. And watch that video for the details about how to win that. All right, so we'll start with the Return of Wolverine. All right, so a lot of people, I've seen some mixed reviews about the first issue. I really enjoyed it. I did a review. Sorry, I'm using my phone, so I don't have to find the camera every time. I'm just so used to looking on my computer. I enjoyed the first issue. There were some things that didn't really make sense to me. Maybe it's because I hadn't been reading about what happened to Wolverine beforehand, and some of that was just poor writing. But, you know, for Marvel, it was a step in the right direction, I thought. Some other people that I've watched might disagree with that, but I really enjoyed it. And this issue, I really enjoyed as well. The only thing that I had a problem with this issue is they had a kind of a romance, which I didn't really feel like made sense at all. Like, this lady is worried about either her son or brother. I don't remember. I'm terrible with that. You know, but then they slowly develop this relationship or whatever. And I'm just like, this really is kind of awkward. Like, they end up kissing in the end. She's like, has anybody ever told you thank you? And then they kiss. I was like, oh, brother, get... That's just like, they haven't developed any kind of relationship or like any kind of moments together at all, other than they're trying to find her son or whoever. I'm just gonna refer to his son. If I'm wrong, I'm sorry. Just leave me a comment because I'm pretty bad about that. I see. Oh yeah, I love me some Yoda. Good. Okay, I mean, if you enjoyed it, I mean, I could be wrong. I just didn't feel like there was I like the relationship. Don't get me wrong. I just felt like there wasn't like a lot of build up to it. You know, a lot of times like there's some kind of flirtatious dialogue or like they don't even like look at each other in like a romantic way in either issue, as far as I can tell, until suddenly she wants to kiss him. I'm just like, there's this random dude that's killing a whole bunch of people, and sure, like, he's helping find your son, but I mean, is that really like what's attracting you to this guy? I don't know. Anyways, that was the only problem I had with it. Otherwise, I really enjoyed it. They're really delving into some of the back issues. They had a couple villains, which was kind of cool. I don't know who they are because I'm not as into Marvel, but as I am in DC. You know, they kind of have a kind of cool fight. The first few pages were a little slow because it was just a bunch of dialogue. I guess here's like a somewhat romantic look there, but I don't know. She's like pleading with him to swear that he's gonna save her son. I don't know. Anyways, it is her son. I just looked. May you dap. I don't know what that means, but okay. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Like, it's plain and simple. It's very simple. They're chasing these guys on a boat, and the villains attack them. So Wolverine gets in this really bloody fight. Has a flashback of his memories that has lost, and so that's really interesting and compelling. It's not a whole lot of just a lot of fighting, not a lot of dialogue. Kind of went real quickly. Enjoyed it. I don't know who this other guy who has claws is, but you know, Wolverine ended up taking them down, and then they kiss, and there's a lot of dialogue about that, and I'm just like, okay, whatever. But I enjoyed it. I love the cameo at the end. It's got um, um, it's got Jean Grey, and it's got Kitty Pryde. So I'm excited about that. I just hope like they don't bring too much of some of the characteristics that I haven't enjoyed from the other titles into this one. Hopefully they'll have like their own history and stuff. I don't know. It's this writer. Hopefully that he keeps going up. So I don't really rate comic books, but I really enjoyed this one. I enjoyed it. It was plain simple. It wasn't my favorite by any means, because we're gonna get to those. And actually, I don't know that, like, this is probably the weakest of the 5 that I'm gonna talk about. So weakest of the 5, but still enjoyable. Enough for me, I think, to buy the next one, you know, and see how it goes. Because I want to support Marvel doing better comics. So, all right. Next up, we'll do a DC book. So, Marvel, all 5 of these comic books are good. There's 2 DCs, 3 Marvel. Why don't I have any Star Wars comic books? The only reason is because the only series that I'm reading for Star Wars right now is Darth Vader. Because Dr. Aphra is kind of lame. I don't understand why anybody reads that, but I'm curious. So if you read that, leave me a comment. I want to know. Just not my thing. I think she's kind of a dumb character. The main Star Wars series, like, it's got a few good issues here and there, but overall I just haven't enjoyed like the main issues. So sometimes I'll pick it up, sometimes I won't. I usually don't. I have a few issues here and there, and they have what, like the they have like this Solo thing. Couldn't care less about that. They have the cadet Han Solo thing, which looks stupid to me. Sorry if y'all enjoy those. If you do, you know, I'm curious to hear about them. It just doesn't look appealing to my tastes. What's another one that they have? They had the one with like the captain from the Solo movie, which I was like, who asked for this character? Like, so I did a video a while back about the with the Star Wars previews, and there were a couple ones in there that I was excited about. So Qui-Gon Jinn, when it comes out, I'll be reading that. And then there's a new Darth Maul coming, so that's pretty exciting. Can I talk about Yoda? So I have a Yoda video. I just haven't gotten it out yet. Like I said, this week has been crazy, and honestly, this whole month is going to be pretty crazy with my real job. So it's hard to put time into this and other things when the real jobs get really crazy. So I'm working on it. It's in the process, but it'll be out before too long. The next Yoda video. I'm guessing that's what you're asking about, the Yoda videos. All right, so next up, Damage. I love this series. So honestly, like, the New Age of Heroes from DC have been really great. So Marvel, if you're looking about how to introduce new characters and get them so that people will love them, just look at DC, because they've done great. They've got the Terrifics, they've got Sideways, they got the Silencer, they got Damage, they've got the Unexpected, they've got the what's that other one? The forget the Challengers, the new Challengers. All of them are really awesome. I've heard good things about Brimstone. I had to choose financially. I can only pick some, so I dropped that one. It just wasn't as good to me, but I've heard good things about it. And the other one I dropped was the Immortal Men, which I just didn't really care for. It was really boring. I was really reading it for one character. He was like a gunslinger, which is really awesome. He can reuse the same bullet over and over again, which is pretty awesome feat. And I didn't care anything about the rest of the heroes. So that one hero was awesome. I didn't really care anything about the others. So I just had to choose. I dropped that one. So the Unexpected I was shocked about, but Damage I knew I liked, because this is basically the DC Hulk. And it is amazing. It is amazing. And so, like, you've got a nice double page here with him destroying stuff, and you know, you have, see, my favorite thing about the Hulk, and this is why I love this series, is my favorite thing about the Hulk is it's a battle between Bruce Banner, I almost said Bruce Wayne, Bruce Banner and the Hulk. And so he's basically Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which is a classic story. And it really just talks about the evil that lurks inside of us and trying to fight the good and evil. And so that's who the Hulk is. And Bruce Banner learns to tame the Hulk, basically, and become a hero. And that's the story of the Hulk. That's what's compelling about the Hulk. And Marvel misses it every time. I think that the new Immortal Hulk, it's a lot better. So they're getting back to that. And honestly, like, I really hate in a lot of cartoons with the Hulk, all they show is the Hulk. Like, Bruce Banner never shows up. I'm just like, he's just a big brute. Like, he doesn't do anything. Like, who cares about the Hulk at this point? How is he an interesting character at all? But Damage gets that right. Damage has that perfect balance where Damage and Ethan are talking back and forth to each other. So Damage is influencing Ethan as Ethan is walking around as Ethan, and Ethan is starting to influence Damage as Damage is walking around as Damage. And so, excellent, just amazing. So the character is slowly learning how to use his rage and anger and this dark side to him, and slowly becoming less afraid of it. And so he's learning how to be himself and control himself, but use some of that anger in a better way, in a good way. And I love that. It's so good. It's excellent. And you see it really well in this issue. Some of the other issues, some of the story hasn't exactly made sense. It's been enjoyable, but this one was just pure fun. He just rampages and he just destroys everything, because they finally built up to him getting back to where he was, and he's trying to just destroy everything. Let me see if I can't find there's a good picture of it. He's just destroying everything. It's awesome. And Ethan's in the background telling Damage, just bring it all down. Just destroy the Damage program for good. You actually see some of the failed victims, and they're pretty horrific. So they're just, I guess they're either dead or they're forever trapped as these half-breeds that are kind of worthless. So just excellent. Just an amazing series. The cover is awesome. I love the foil. This is how you do a good foil, DC. Some of your others were okay. This one was good. It wasn't on my foil video just because I hadn't read it yet, and actually it hadn't come out yet. So when I did that video, I was like, okay, I think there might be some. Yeah, it is kind of like the Gray Hulk. Although call me a traitor to the Hulk. I like the Green Hulk. I just like him being green. That's just me. I appreciate the history of the Gray Hulk, just because that was what it was first. But I think making him green was a good choice. So I think he's really cool at being a giant green monster. So great job, DC. Really, really great there. Damage has been a solid hit every time. There's been a couple issues where I was like, it was okay. But you stick through it sometimes through the bad issues, and the series blossoms just like Damage. So if you haven't picked it up, I highly recommend it. I can understand people not wanting Wolverine. I'm not a huge Wolverine fan personally, but I have enjoyed the series because I figured I'd check it out, and if I didn't like it, I'd make a video about it. And it was good. Only the same praise can be given to DC's movies. Yeah, DC is terrible with their movies. So DC has been ruling the comics and the small screen. And Marvel just can't seem to do anything on either of those platforms. But they're killing it in the movies, which is where most people think about it. And unfortunately, it's raising a generation of kids who think Marvel is better than DC only because they like the movies. And I'm like, yeah, but you don't really know these characters. Like, you've seen a couple movies with them in there, and I love those movies, and they're really great in those movies. But if that was all you were basing it on, yeah. Anyway, so all right, my next one is Thing and Mr. Fantastic 2-in-1. I love this series. This series is amazing. Chip Zdarsky, I'd read a couple of his books before he did this series, and I didn't really enjoy them at all. They were boring. The humor was dry. It didn't work. I think one of them was Spider-Man. I was like, how do you not do Spider-Man well? Um, but this series is amazing. This series is amazing. And pretty much this whole uh, issue was Mr. Fantastic basically apologizing for abandoning Ben and Johnny, and I can't remember where, but Ben basically says, "So where are we going next on your apology tour?" So basically, he takes them on this big apology tour. It's pretty funny that Ben is so what's it called? He's so aware of what's going on, and I think I can't remember where I was listening to somebody. They were talking about how selfish Reed Richards is, and sometimes they try to make him out to be less selfish than he really is, and I feel like they tried to do that in this book. And he's always like having to apologize because of how selfish he is, and I think that's a really interesting part of the character because, I mean, you think about it, he's got superpowers and he's super smart. Like, what is his flaw? His flaw is that he's overly selfish and doesn't think about others, which really makes it interesting with Sue Storm trying to, be married to him, and then he's got to lead the Fantastic Four. And so just a really interesting part of the character. And then you have Thing, who's so selfless, but he feels like he never fits in. And so, yeah, it's just really cool characters. I love this series. And I thought it was a really interesting explanation as far as the why Reed thought how he had rationalized leaving the Fantastic Four. And so, and what the explanation is basically that he found a Victor Von Doom that was good, and the reason he was good was because Mr. Fantastic was not in that universe. So he reasoned that if he had left his universe, that their Victor Von Doom would actually become good. And I was like, that is really interesting. That is really interesting. And what did we see? That Victor did try to be good in the last few years of Marvel. So they're basically explaining all that away. And of course he failed, but Ben says, hey, like, he tried. Like, he didn't succeed, he tried. And one critique I saw about this book was that the first thing Reed does when he gets back is that he goes and undoes what happened in the last issue, which is they go back and try to capture the Thinker. I think that's what his name is. And they, like, Johnny had let him go and said, just try to be good now. But Reed doesn't accept that, so him and the Thing go back and counter what they had been doing. And so just if they had like shown how that was a mistake, like maybe they had a little bitterness with Ben saying you didn't trust us to do the right thing, that would have been more interesting. But otherwise, excellent issue. Really enjoyed it. And I'm excited for next week, which is going to have the Storm kids. So that should be good. Johnny and Sue will both be in there. Should be fun. I'm excited about this. Love this series. If you're not reading this, I don't know what you're doing. This is great. It's much better so far than the other Fantastic Four. And so, not that the other one I don't enjoy, because there's another Marvel book that I've enjoyed. So right now, the Marvel titles I've got were Immortal Hulk. I haven't yet picked it up, but I have read a few of its issues. I'm reading The Return of Wolverine, at least for the moment. Reading Marvel 2-in-1, and I'm reading Fantastic Four, and that's pretty much it. Well, Star Wars. I'm reading Darth Vader and the new Star Wars that's about to come out. And then I just picked up this issue. I just picked up this series, Spider-Gwen. I'm really excited about that. So I'll review this in a minute. I want to go to DC first. All right, so great issue. Really loved it. Just a solid hit for Marvel. They are doing really well. Their books are getting better. Praise the Lord. I'm excited. We're back on track for Marvel. I just wish, like, as a whole company, they would have better comics. So the Terrifics annual. This issue was awesome. I haven't read the whole thing. I just read the first story, which was so much fun. They're at a party, and they have these weird blobs, these weird creatures that kind of shapeshift and take your form. And here's a picture of them. They kind of take form, and they, if you look into their eyes, they basically copy your body and I guess your personality. And so there's some fun things like that. Some of the characters, some of the Terrifics identify in a way they never had with some of the people, and they get really close to them emotionally, kind of open themselves for the first time, which was really awesome, only to find out, spoiler, that they were monsters. They were not the real people. And so when they meet the real people later, it's not the same. And so really excellent, really awesome writing. Just really great character moments for the Terrifics. And of course, you know, they're really fun to be around. So, like, you see, here's Mr. Plastic. He's as a moped and driving in at the last minute, and he's got his little eyeglass thing here. It's really funny. I love Plastic Man in this series. I love the cover where he's eating Metamorpho, and there's just like a whole bunch of extra Plastic Mans running around. Just so funny, so funny. I need to read the rest of the issue. It was a long day, so I didn't get to finish it. But it looks like it's gonna lay some grounds for some of the other characters, so that's cool. Especially since we found out who Dr. Dredd is. They're going to go a little bit into his backstory, because some new readers might not know who he is, and I sort of know who he is. And so I'll be excited to read that. And they go into more about Tom Strong. He's got his own little story, so that should be fun. Really love this series. Love this issue too. Even the annuals really good. So this is, in my opinion, the best series for DC right now. It's the strongest. It's the best, in my opinion. My humble but accurate opinion. So I love the Terrifics. It is amazing. It is terrific. I probably use that joke too much, but man, I love this series. It's just so good. So just a solid hit for DC. Every issue is interesting. I haven't had a bad issue yet, and I think they're on like issue 9 or 10 or something like that. So just excellent. Unlike Damage, which has had a couple that were dry, Terrifics has been amazing every time. So DC brings it home with the Terrifics annual. Just amazing writing. So they even had I think a different set of writers on this issue, the annuals, and it was still good. So they've been able to switch back and forth a little bit, because I think I don't remember who. I think it's Venditti maybe who does the Terrifics. He was doing Hal Jordan and Green Lanterns for a little while, I think, if I remember correctly. Great writer. I've really enjoyed his stuff so far. All right, last one. Spider-Gwen. Dude, this series is amazing. I read this, when did I read this? This morning. And I ran by the shop, saw Brandon, and I told him, I was like, dude, I'm picking this up. Like, this is awesome. So, first of all, you gotta love this costume. Her costume is amazing. Like, why they didn't think of something like this sooner for Marvel is beyond me. Beyond me. Um, but so at first, let me tell the story of this. So I looked through the previews book for November, I think, when I did my other video, and that's when I saw that this was coming out. So I was like, okay, I need to pick this up. So my videos helped me too, you know. But so I saw that it was coming out. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to pick this up, and but I was a little worried because there's some telltale signs for books for me that I know that I'm not going to enjoy, and sometimes it's the artwork, sometimes it's the covers. I do judge a book by its cover a lot, and I try not to always, so I'll usually check inside as well. And there's just there's some artwork, I don't really know how to explain it, that I don't care for. I like more realism in my artwork. I don't always have to have that as long as it's a good story. And honestly, like a really great cover for me will make up for the lousy artwork in the book, or like a different style. So, and different tones work well for different artwork. So sometimes it's if it's blocky, or if it's less realistic, more abstract, I'm okay with that as long as the story is appropriate. And so, I mean, you know, I read old comic books too, and they're very different, not very realistic. But it was realistic for the time. So when I was looking at some of the artwork, I didn't really enjoy it. I was like, okay, I'm probably not gonna like this. I was like, but okay, I'll try it. You know, because I really love Spider-Gwen. I think she's an awesome character. I'm a Miles Morales and Spider-Gwen guy. I like those two together. Miles Morales is my favorite Spider-Man, hands down. I really like his character, and when I was introduced to Spider-Gwen, immediately fell in love. And this issue actually addressed some of the reasons why I love her. But again, that costume is amazing. The hood with the mask, this is so cool. That's so cool. I love the white, because we haven't really had a white spider before this, as far as I knew. I mean, we had the black and white, but he was black when he had the black costume, so it wasn't a white costume, it was black. It just had some accents over white, which is really cool. So actually, the new set of comics that I got, the reasons I got it is because it has the 70s Web of Spider-Man series, and it's gotten almost a full run. So I was super excited. It's one of the first series that actually had him in the black costume. So that's pretty cool. Anyways, all right, Spider-Gwen. So this is coming out of Spider-Geddon, which I haven't really been into. It just didn't really appeal to me. I like the Spider-Verse. I really do. I think it's really interesting. I mean, obviously I like Spider-Gwen, but I just can't get into that. It's just something about it just doesn't really fit me well. So she talks about her history. Apparently she was in prison or whatever, and I don't really get that. Like, I don't really understand what's going on there, but you know, whatever. I'll move on. I didn't read the last series, but even though I heard it was great. She's talking a little bit about that, so it's not so much that you can't identify with it, but she feels like a regular, like, teenage girl that wants to save the world. Like, you know, the way she talks, the way she deals with people, and there's a couple weird moments in here, but you know, she reacts like a lot of teenage girls do when they see her friend. Like, she just runs up and half hugs Harry Osborn when she sees him, which was great. She's like, I'm broke, but he's rich. I'll go tell him I'm hungry, and he'll pay for me. And I'm like, yeah, that happens all the time. And then when I was super excited, I didn't actually look through the book when I bought it, but when I saw Spider-Ham, who is my fourth favorite Spider-Man character, definitely. I love Spider-Ham. I love the more ridiculous comic booky characters like Frog Toad. I mean, Frog Toad. Toad Thor or Frog Thor. I think it's Frog Thor. I love that guy. I love Spider Ham. I always get the names mixed up, but I love their characters. Just so much fun. And I wish they were more prevalent, but they're like, oh, it's a little too comic booky. I'm like, it's comic books. Let it be comic booky. But whatever. Anyway, so when he got in there, I was really excited, but he's only in there for a second. So she accidentally falls into this other universe, and she's trying to find her way around. Doesn't know anybody. Goes to Oscorp, and finds that it's been closed down. And then she runs into a female Green Goblin, basically, and chases her down. It was kind of this female. Oh, no, sorry. Is it the Green Goblin? I think so. When I saw her in the previews, I was like, I don't really care. Like, so for me, I don't like it when when writers create the exact same villain for somebody else. So, when a good way to see that is in the Adventures of the Super Sons. So in the first issue, they introduced a Junior League of Doom, or Legion of Doom, or maybe it was a Fearsome Five, and like they were all heroes from the Marvel or the DC universe, but they were younger. I was like, can't they just fight the adults? Like, you know, they've already met Lex Luthor. It would be fun for them to interact with Lex Luthor. Why do we need like a child Lex Luthor? I just don't like that. Now, if it were Lex Luthor's son, I would be more okay with that. And they explained it was a kid from another universe, so I was like, okay, it's a little bit better than what I thought they were going for. But I don't really like, so it'd be like Spider-Man has the Green Goblin, and then Miles Morales has another Green Goblin that's different from the original Green Goblin, but instead he's got some different qualities. Like maybe he's racially diverse too. And then Spider-Gwen, she's got a Green Goblin, but oh no, it's a female Green Goblin. I'm just like, seriously? Can't it just be the same Green Goblin or create a new villain? But so I don't really care for that. It's not, you know, and some characters are more like they reimagine them, and it's like the male or female or black version of this villain. I'm just like, are they not good enough for like the main villain? Like, were these characters not good enough in themselves? They had to copy somebody else? Like, come on. So that was one of the things that turned me off at first. But then I realized it was from a different universe. I was like, okay, that makes perfect sense. You know, in a parallel universe, there's a female Green Goblin, and she is the Green Goblin of that universe. So I was like, so half of me is wondering if this isn't the Hobgoblin. But she's flying on the glider, so it's got to be. Honestly, you might be like, this guy's Marvel knowledge is pitiful, and it is. And so, but I think it's the Green Goblin. I could be wrong. I don't know. But she's not green, so who knows? She's got like a mask that looks like a goblin's face. I don't know. Anyways, she this is the Green Goblin of that universe. Perfect sense. Multiverse theory really solves a lot of problems in comic books. It really does. Anyways, so they have a fun fight, and Spider-Gwen actually loses, which I thought was really interesting. And but my favorite part of the issue, at the very end, she meets, spoiler, the Peter Parker of that universe. And what I love about it is what she says. She says, this is a risk, but where there's a Peter, there's almost always a Gwen, and she's almost always long dead. I was like, wow, that's really good. And so he's like, how do you know my name? She's like, Peter, it's me. She pulls off the mask. I'm Gwen Stacy, and I need your help. and you know, you kind of see him. He's shocked because, of course, his Gwen Stacy's probably dead, and he's crying because, you know, it's an emotional moment for him. Beautiful, wonderfully done, amazing. I love it. I love it. Instantly, I was like, I'm buying this series. Like, please give me more. It's like that Futurama meme. Take my money. So great job, Marvel. This book is amazing. It's, as much as I love the others, this is probably my favorite. This is my product. I mean, this cover alone is awesome, and then the issue just really was great. So I probably put them in order. I might have moved the 2-in-1 Fantastic Four over Damage in an actual thing. So it goes Spider-Gwen, Terrifics, Marvel 2-in-1, Damage, and then I guess that was the order. That was the order. So as much as I like Damage, it's hard to beat the Thing and Mr. Fantastic in the same comic book, you know. And Damage is so new; it's his 10th issue, so it's just like, you know, it makes sense for him to lose to those two. So that would be my order, and in that case, Marvel won for the 5 issues that I did. So I think that about wraps it up. I'm going to exit and do another video here in a minute about about my thoughts on Heroes in Crisis. But that's all I got for this video. Thanks for everybody who was watching earlier, and anybody who's watching now. If you made it to the end, thanks for supporting the channel, supporting the family. If you haven't yet, please go on, subscribe, and join the family. We'd love to add you to the group, and we'd love for anybody who enjoys comic books or superheroes or anything. That'd be awesome. You know, if you haven't yet, check out that comic book giveaway. We're giving away a free comic book. We'd love to give it to you if you can answer the right question, or answer the question correctly, and go over to my comic book giveaway video. I will, I think I'll put that over here. So, and you can check that out for all the details. And that about wraps that up. I'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching. Peace.